Hello, and welcome to My Digital Story. I'm Jason Gillikin with Triangle Direct Media, and on this podcast we talk about how websites evolve from a simple concept and a domain name to a thriving online business. We'll discuss the successes, the failures, and hopefully a few great stories along the way. Today, we're with the founders of MuscleClubApparel.com, Nicola and Jeff Smith. Muscle Club has been around since 2010, and they sell shirts and other apparel for your workouts. Their market is fitness fanatics who love the gym, the CrossFitters who get their workouts in after work, the moms who work out whenever they get the chance, really anyone who wants high-quality workout clothing. Some of their designs are hilarious, some of them are motivational. Their business has grown rapidly over the years, and right now they have over 350,000 Facebook fans, and they're starting to get the brand recognition they need to compete in a really tough space. So some of you might have heard of Muscle Club before, but what you might not know is how it started.
2009, our now oldest son was born. By January, he had been officially diagnosed with a form of congenital muscular dystrophy. My wife, being the amazing person she is, she's like, I don't want to go back to work. I want to stay home.
Because he was considered so medically fragile, the daycares would not take him. It was too much of a risk.
We knew we needed an extra income, and we needed something that we could do hopefully relatively cheaply. When we started this, we didn't know where it would be in 5 years, but we figured anything would be better than nothing.
Their story is inspirational and heart-wrenching, and I found myself awed when listening to them talk about what they've had to go through. They were motivated by their son and his fight, and you'll be motivated too after listening to them. Then stick around for a few minutes afterwards to hear how you can help contribute to muscular dystrophy research. All right, so we're here with Nicola and Jeff Smith from Muscle Club Apparel. Nicola and Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so you've got MuscleClubApparel.com. You've got over 300,000 Facebook fans, and you've got a great story that I can't wait to hear about. But let's go backwards. How did you two meet?
Yeah, this is one. It's kind of funny, actually. And it's one of those I guess happenstance. Neither one of us knew of each other or anything like that. Feel free to jump in at any time. But basically, it kind of comes down to this. I used to travel around the country doing car shows with my car.
He was in a car club.
Yeah, I was in a car club at that time. It's called Aftermath Customs. It's a local car club to Louisiana. And anyway, we just so happened to be at World of Wheels in New Orleans this one particular weekend.
This was not my kind of thing. First off, I've never been to a car show, and I guess I went to a couple after this, but it was a friend that made me go. So I'd rather go shopping, but she talked me into going hang out with her car club friend.
So yeah, this friend of ours, obviously a mutual friend, Nicola did not want to pay for the ticket to
Yeah, I didn't want to go. And then I get there and I got to pay $35 to go into this thing. And I was like, forget it. I'm leaving.
Oh, no.
So our mutual friend, she called me because having a car in the show, I have an extra ticket. And she was like, hey, can my friend use your extra ticket to get in? And I was like, yeah, as long as I get to meet her, and well, honestly, the rest is history. As they say, it was kind of love at first sight.
Definitely.
Yeah, it really just kind of.
We had a 5-hour distance relationship. I lived in South Louisiana. He lived in North Louisiana, and we met in New Orleans. And then after that, we were at 2 separate colleges, but for 6 months, we had a 5-hour distance relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So after that, she pretty much packed up her bags and moved in with me, and we've been together ever since.
We don't have to include that.
And so you guys were in college, and so what year is this?
Okay, that's where we don't.
That's where things get dicey because we don't remember dates.
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Don't ask when we got married. We can't remember. we think we're going.
And guys, this really works out in my favor because typically if you forget a date, it's a bad thing.
Well,
but
your wife doesn't know. It doesn't matter.
But if your wife doesn't know, then it's cool. So I mean, honestly, I think that was around 2002, 2001. somewhere in that time frame when we met for the first time. And I want to say that when we got married was about 2004.
I don't know.
Yeah. So.
No, for real. I don't.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Who knows?
Yeah.
And so 2004 to 2010 or so, when you started up the company, what are you guys doing for jobs?
I was a elementary teacher.
Okay.
I was in the education. Mm-hmm.
She was in the education field. I myself, I graduated from college with a degree in graphic design. So at that particular time, I was working for a screen printing company as their graphic art director, kind of leading a team of artists to make sure that we got everyone's jobs out on time.
Gotcha. Okay. In 2010, and I'm looking at your Facebook page and the About section for Muscle Club Apparel. It says in 2010 you came up with the idea for the site.
Yeah, so that's pretty much I guess, one of the biggest stories about how this brand began. To backtrack real quick for a year, in 2009, our now oldest son was born.
In October,
he was born in October, and
January.
By January, he had been officially diagnosed with a form of congenital muscular dystrophy.
Those are dates we don't forget.
Yeah, kind of very important days of our lives there. So my wife, being the amazing person she is, she's like, I don't want to go back to work. I want to stay home. I want to.
Well, actually, it wasn't a choice, Jeff. At that time, because we started talking to like daycares and, where could Caden go while I was at work? And because he was considered so medically fragile, the daycares would not take him. It was too much of a risk. So, and then paying someone to come to the house wasn't an option. So it was just probably better for me to stay home and deal with all the therapies and doctor's appointments and to.
She's downplaying it a tad. She really did want to be with him, and so I mean, she's an amazing person all the way. But wow. So that's really where this idea kind of came from.
I remember we
knew we needed an extra income, and we needed something that we could do hopefully relatively cheaply. When we started this, we didn't know where it would be in 5 years, but we figured anything would be better than nothing. So basically, we went out and I being a graphic designer, I did a whole bunch of designs and started showing it around to, guys at the gym. And I was like, would you want to wear this shirt? And they were like, well, yeah, that looks awesome. I would definitely take one. I was like, well, would you take one for $10? And they're like, yeah, put me down.
He would sell them out of his gym bag. It was it reminded me of how the girls sell Girl Scout cookies. You know how you have the paper on your clipboard and you take the name, you take the money, and be like, I'll deliver it to you in a couple of weeks. That's what it reminded me.
Yeah, that's literally what I did. And then, by taking those pre-orders, that would allow me to print a few extra shirts. Yeah, next thing you know, I have a lot of
selling it out of the truck, out of your car. And it was you just kept building.
Yeah, so next thing you know, I have like all this additional inventory because of all the extras that I was printing. And I was like, man, I need a way to move this, because the inventory started taking up my closet. That's when I was like, okay, I'm going to create a website. And then once I created the website, it took a little bit of time, but a couple of sales here, a couple of sales there turned into a few more sales because people are now talking. And next thing you know, we're shipping worldwide, 355,000 fans on Facebook, 37,000 fans on Instagram.
It really was a huge blessing because, with everything that happened, we had bought a home, just had a baby, then realized how much additional medical bills we were going to be having. It was going to become a problem fast. And this ended up answering all of that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You had to do something and you did it. That's amazing. And so did you keep your job still, Jeff? And then you're just kind of doing this on the side for a while?
Yeah. Ironically, you would think that, once that started going hard and going, talking about Muscle Club, once that really took off and had its own feet, you would think that I would have quit my job. But no, I just quit my job about 2 months ago.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I was with that company for 18 years. First, I started off in the back doing the screen printing, and pretty much once I graduated with my degree, I took the art position. Helped that company grow, and still use them as my printer. to this day. So phenomenal relationship with those people.
So how did you find the time then to work full time and then, to do this and then you've got family also? Like where did all this time come from?
Well, we all have the same 24 hours.
Yeah.
I just utilize more of it than most people. Basically I would wake up first thing in the morning and I would sit down in front of my computer with my coffee before everyone else woke up, and I would take care of things. I would come home on my lunch break and I was working on things. And then I would come home in the afternoon and I would work on things. Once the kids went to sleep, I was working. I don't want to make this sound like I was doing it all myself. In the beginning, it kind of was a lot of me, but, my wife started jumping in and contributing greatly, which would take a lot off my plate. And to where now, I mean, it's a full-time job for her, taking care of orders, taking care of emails, talking with customers and continuing all that.
Sure.
It's just a full-time job in itself.
I didn't have as much faith in it as Jeff did. So I was, I guess, trying to figure out something else. That when I saw the orders start coming in and he was trying to pull orders while doing maybe like new graphic, like the new designs, that's when I realized I was like, I can pull orders. I can ship orders. I can answer emails. I can't do design. I can come up with ideas, but I can't get on the computer and design it like he can.
Mm-hmm.
I think she also realized that she should come on board when she realized how bad I was at accounting.
Oh, that was a part too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm being an artist, I'm not good at math. I can do addition, subtraction, and all that stuff. But when it comes to all the financials that I probably shouldn't be in charge of.
I remember that now.
Yeah, she was like, "This is just unacceptable." Her mom, so
yeah,
I mean, she has a little bit of a background there.
Well, you're trying to build up the business. You're not trying to keep track of what's going on. I mean,
I had no time for those small things.
Yeah.
Don't hold me down with paperwork.
That's right. When you're building up the website, then, like, did you have any experience with building up a website? Did you just learn? Did you have some help? How did that work?
Here's the funny thing. Okay, so when I was graduating college, which was back in 2001, I was literally on the very beginning, what you would call the cusp of, like Dreamweaver and a lot of those other programs that were starting to be introduced that help build fancy and nice websites, And I was like, I'll just learn that on my own. I won't take this class. I regretted that heavily.
Yep.
Because at that point in time, I knew absolutely nothing about building a website. The first website that went up, my wife can tell you, like I spent.
That's what I was about to say. You bought a book off of Amazon or something?
I bought several books, trying to teach myself. And so I sat down reading the book first for, God knows how long. And then, finally I was like, I just have to do this. And so I jumped in, and the first website that we put up it was not beautiful, but it got the job done. And I probably put a lot more effort into trying to make it look beautiful than I should have. But after that, I went forward with a second version of a website, and that one looked a lot better.
Okay.
Once I kind of figured out what I needed to do. So the first website was almost like an experiment.
Sure.
Whereas the second website was, okay, I know this works. I can do this. And, so I finally pieced together something I was proud of.
And so was it with the second one then where you started to see orders come in?
Probably so. I mean, there was definitely orders coming in with the first one, but not near as hot and heavy as with the second website.
Gotcha. Okay. All this time, are you doing trade shows? Like, are you still doing the Girl Scout cookie thing, going around gym to gym? Like, how are you marketing the business?
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing. Before you really knew what influencers were, because that's really a thing of like the past year or two,
sure,
where people are being considered an influencer. That's kind of the approach that I took. I reached out, and you're talking to somebody here that was very new on Twitter, very new on Facebook, and stuff like that. I started reaching out, on Twitter to people that, had just referenced a workout. One person, replied back, said, "Hey, I really love your stuff." And I was like, "Oh, awesome. I'm going to go see who this person is." Well, she turned out to be Miss Bikini Olympia 2012 or something like that, which is like,
oh, wow,
the biggest compliment or the biggest prize that one can receive in the bikini profession. So I was like, "Hey, let me send you some stuff." And so we did. We developed a relationship. We were sending her clothes, and she was posting stuff on social media, and that's really, I guess, the very beginning of when things started to take off for us. We just happened upon someone on Twitter, and that's how it really began. And that just continued helping us grow at an astonishing rate.
Okay. And so then you didn't really have to do the trade shows, and you didn't have to do the door-to-door stuff anymore?
No. I mean, honestly, no, we didn't, which, turned out to be kind of good for us considering, I still had a regular 40-hour a week job. We had a child with special needs.
And then twins.
And here, as most recently as 2.5 years ago, we had twins.
Oh, wow.
Our lives have been fairly busy. And so, trade shows with the kids and things like, and the busy nature that, 3 kids brings.
Sure.
It was incredibly difficult to do shows.
Sure. And so is that how you got your 300 and something thousand followers on Facebook then, is from these influencers?
No, not really. We do a lot of, self-promotion and stuff through Facebook and all. I will never forget this. Back in, I want to say it was about 6 years ago, so maybe 2011, 2012-ish. We had our first spokesmodel contest. I was, being a marketing guy, I'm a graphic designer. I'm also kind of a marketing guy. I was like, what can we do that would bring a lot of interest to the brand?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of came up with this idea of a spokesmodel contest where we would look for the next faces of our brand. So people that we would use for photo shoots, have them be plastered all over our social media and our website and, all that stuff. My wife was a little bit apprehensive on that at first. She was like, all she saw was dollar signs leaving,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought of, the potential that it had.
Well, dollar signs leaving because you're having to advertise on Facebook for this stuff?
Well, yeah.
He wanted to do photo shoots, like
for
the winners.
Yeah, so that would entail, like, the winners would fly in from wherever they're from. So that would be the flights, the hotels, the food while they're in town, the photo shoots. Just the winners themselves would have a little bit of an expense that comes with them, not to mention the advertising portion that went with the contest itself. So I'll never forget, man, that first contest was kind of an aha moment for us. We were a young brand at this point, not really a whole lot of people knew about us. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like within a month, we had gotten like 40-something thousand followers on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Of course, this is back when Facebook was not paid to play.
Yep.
This was back when Facebook really let stuff go viral easily. And so you could say we went viral. And that was astonishing. I mean, like, it was insane. I mean, like, I can't even explain how crucial that was for our business at that point. And it's been so good that, we've decided to do that year after year. Pretty much we look for the next athletes, spokesmodels, once a year. We open up the doors where we're trying to find the next faces of our brand for the next calendar year. And we're in that right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I saw that.
October is the month where we accept registrations, and then November is when the voting portion begins. And that's what's so cool about this contest is we really have no control over, who enters, except for the fact that, we keep it U.S. based only. And then on top of that, we take the top 40 males and females as far as popular vote is concerned. So this is basically people being voted on by their peers, if you will. So we take the top 40 males and females into what we call the semifinals. So like I said, we have no control over the popular vote. And then from there is when we really kind of break it down and decide who we want to be with us for the next year.
Our panel.
Yeah, we have a panel that consists of myself and my wife and
some of the older models.
Some of the other models and
Okay.
athletes that we've had in the past, some of our employees. So, we all kind of sit down and look and see who we feel like would mesh best with the brand. And we begin, slowly eliminating people to where, and that's another thing that people really kind of like is the competition portion begins, I guess, at that point to see who made the next cut. So, we usually try and announce the grand prize winners by Christmas time.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. And so if anybody's listening that has an interest in being a spokesmodel, if you go to muscleclubapparel.com, it is right there in the main navigation, spokesmodel search. And so what do they have to do? Do they have to submit a video? How does that work?
well, we keep it simple at first. They submit the photo and a very brief bio about themselves, and then basically confirm that they are 18 years of age and eligible for the contest, by being a U.S. citizen. And that's really it in the very beginning. Once they move into the semifinals, that's when we start to get a little bit more in depth about the person who's entering. We ask for videos, trying to, I guess, establish the personality. Why do they want to be with the brand? And that's where we really try to get to know the people who actually made it through.
Oh, that was really cool. I mean, this for them could lead to, other opportunities down the line, whether it be, more modeling or more acting or whatever it might be.
For sure. Most people that have been a part of the brand, at least in athlete form or made the spokesmodel, that has definitely led to other opportunities. So that's definitely a possibility.
Gotcha. Okay. On your website, and if I click through on some of these shirts, I mean, you have some of the most creative shirts, and a lot of them are like motivational. Some of them are double entendre type of shirts.
Yeah.
You've got some of these are so funny, like Sets Addict, Meal Prep and Chill, Practice Safe Sets. I'd hit that with HIIT. Don't touch my rack. Pumping ain't easy. Like, how do you come up with these? Like, who's the creative force behind these?
Okay, well, I mean, obviously, some of those are plays on what's popular right now. So Netflix and chill, was obviously a cultural thing that was going around for quite some time, and we just did a spin on that.
Yeah,
and it worked.
And it worked, and so quite a few of those sayings are like that. And then,
but some of them have some meaning behind it, like don't touch my rack. I was at the gym one day at lunch trying to do a really fast workout, and this guy, he was about to jump into like one of my supersets, and I was like, oh my God, don't touch my rack. And then I thought, oh, that could be a shirt.
Yeah.
And then you have
well, so we have another one that says beasts never sleep, and that was right after our twins were born. And so my wife and I, we were not having much sleep at the time. In fact, we pretty much split up baby duties. I was sleeping in the guest room with one baby, and she was taking the room with the other one. And anyway, so we were not getting a whole lot of sleep at that time. Yeah, forget the conversation and how it exactly went down, but I basically reached over and told my wife, I said, beasts never sleep.
You said you just had an awesome workout and you barely had any sleep, and then you're like, I guess beasts don't need sleep or something like that.
That's it. Okay. Yeah. So, some of them just kind of come to us while we're thinking, out loud or just talking to each other. And we're like, oh, that needs to be a shirt. But then, there's the others that are obvious, references to pop culture, which definitely seem to work as well.
Yeah. Like, what are the most popular shirts that you have?
Right now, I bet probably the Fit Mom is one of the popular ones. Feed me and tell me I'm pretty. Look back at it.
Uh-huh.
Let's see, for men, American Muscle, we have two of them. American Muscle that has kind of like a flag on the back, and then American Muscle where it says USA on the front.
The patriotic
ones.
Yeah, the patriotic references always seem to do well. So we have the American Muscle, we have the Strength and Honor. Those definitely seem to be doing well.
Practice Safe Sets. That's been one of them since the beginning. We used to have it on women's Razorbacks, but which it did really good for a while. But the men's, that one has to stay fully stocked because that one can always sell.
Have there ever been any where you created something and you're like, this is going to be a hit, and then it just doesn't? It just kind of fizzles out.
All the time.
Oh yeah.
All the time.
And then there's those ones where one of us thinks it's going to sell good, and the other one thinks, oh, that's going to be not good, and then it's a hit, or vice versa.
Pillowcases.
Oh yeah, the pillowcases. He'll never let me let this down.
What's the pillowcases story?
So I'm big. First of all, I'm big into decorating my house. Okay, so when you tell me you want to print this stuff on pillowcases, that's just not working. He wanted to print. What did it say? Beast.
The beast sleeps here on one pillowcase, and the beauty sleeps here on the other pillowcase.
Screen printed on a white pillowcase. there's no one in their right mind that would want to buy that, Jeff. We're not doing it. And I was like, you better sell them cheap. Okay, so he did maybe, I don't know, 36, 48. They sold so fast to where he had to order more another way.
Here's the way that went down. It was so funny because, you know, it was approaching the holiday. And by holiday, I mean like
it was like November.
It was November already. We put a $20 product out there that, you know, meets the perfect price range for most people as far as like gift ideas. And as soon as we sent this job off to be printed, I was like, okay, I got to know right now if it's going to do well because the holiday is coming up, holidays. And so we went ahead and put them live on our website before we had them in our hands.
It sold out in a day.
Well, we sold out in a day, and I had to place a reorder, and this is before I had them in my hands. So I doubled that and placed a reorder.
Oh wow!
Well, before the weekend was up, I had to place another reorder. And so, like, here we go. You know, before I even have them in my hands, and I probably pre-sold like 150 sets of these, and it was very nerve-wracking because I didn't have the products yet. So that was probably one of the best sellers there for quite some time. And it was one of those that we really weren't sure about.
Okay. Are you doing anything else? Like, are you currently on Amazon, and have you ever been on Amazon?
Well, we did Amazon. I was on Amazon for probably about 2, maybe 3 years. And it was a nice little supplement, but, you know, it was a little bit extra work. And at some point I just kind of figured it really didn't feel like it was worth it, the extra work. It was just one more thing, you know, to be honest, that I had to stay on top of. And
Sure.
So I decided this year to shut that down.
Okay.
We just recently started doing some shows now.
Yeah.
So like some of the fitness expos, and Jeff and I both, we enjoy doing that. I'm not gonna say it's a vacation, but it's kind of like a break away from the kids. So we get to go do that and
Sure.
you know, make sales and meet people. And
Yeah, sign me up, you know, get out of the house.
You don't have to sit next to a monitor.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, yeah, we just recently started getting back into the shows, you know, and that's been fun. You know, getting out there, meeting the fans, the public, you know, spreading the word, you know, because there's people out there that don't know about us, which, you know, I find that very hard to believe, but no, I'm kidding. I do enjoy, you know, getting out there and spreading the brand name and introducing it to new people all the time.
And
so
it's exciting. It's also to be the people that do know us when they come to the booth and like, oh, Muscle Club, I see y'all on Facebook, or you know, and come. It's fun to meet them, you know, our fans and stuff. And we did the Dallas Europa show last year, and it was fantastic. We're gonna do it again. And this year we're going to the Arnold in where's that? Ohio.
Okay. Oh, very nice. Yeah, and it's got to be great to have people look at your product and say, "Oh, this is awesome," and then from there you might find, you know, your next bikini model, or you know, whoever else that is going to start wearing it and showing it on their page, and so you get your new influencers.
Exactly.
What are some of the other ways that you're marketing your site now? You don't do Amazon. What about email campaigns?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't think we could do this without email campaigns. You know, we've been doing the email stuff for so long. I think right now we have about 28,000 email addresses, you know, and that serves us very well. So we're a firm believer in the email campaigns.
Gotcha. And so do you increase that in November, December, I imagine?
Definitely.
Okay.
You know, for us, this business is seasonal. You know, you can definitely follow the trends to where, you know, starting about this time of year, sales begin to pick up, and all the way through what would be probably February is our strongest time of the year.
Which, you know, a lot of times in retail, January and February are not good months, but that's some of our top months is January and February.
Yeah, you're getting all the New Year's resolutioners and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, anything that has to do with workout or diet is just huge in January, February.
Absolutely.
Right now, is it still just you two running the company, or do you have any help?
Right now, we have some help. We have actually the girl that the spokesmodel winner from last year. She's actually helping us take over some of the social media. We've had some other athletes help us with social media.
Oh, that's great.
We had some, we have people that help us with the emails and.
Yeah, well, okay, so this goes back to when you were like, wow, where did you find the time for all this? Working 40 hours a week, with the first job, and then coming home and working another 40 to 60 hours a week on the second job. You just got spread so thin, and then social media all plays a strong part in the business. I was not able to stay on top of everything. I mean, you got Twitter, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have Snapchat.
Yep.
I mean, and that list is going to continue to grow. I mean, there will be another Snapchat, next year. It's just, what is it going to be?
It seems like the older we get, the less we know.
Yeah. I mean, I know very little about Snapchat, nor do I care to know, and I have people that basically are taking care of these social media channels for me now. And that in itself was a huge, huge burden that was lifted, because trying to make 4 or 5 posts a day on each of those, I mean, man, it adds up.
Oh yeah.
And so we had people coming in and helping us out there, and then during a busy season like now, we have people who come in and help us hold and tag and do all the things with the clothes. Like we have a girl in our midst right now.
Yeah.
She
started off as a nanny for the kids, but I had to pull her to help me with all this.
Oh wow, that's great.
So yeah, we definitely have people that we're paying to do some work for us now.
You guys are in a very competitive space, and so like, how do you not get eaten alive by the Rogues of the world, those bigger brands?
Well, listen, I'll be completely honest here, and this definitely does not go in our favor. When we first jumped into this back in 2010, there was not a whole lot of competition other than like Nike and Under Armour and stuff like that, and so when we hit the influencers and stuff, things were really great. Well, I believe around 2011, 12, somewhere in there, I saw a Forbes report saying that the fitness industry is about to hit a huge spike. And sure enough, like next thing you know, we're competing against all kinds of celebrities who had their own fitness line.
Yeah.
We're competing against Victoria's Secret, who came out with their sport brand. I mean, you name it, everybody's doing virtually the same thing as we are. Plus, there's all kinds of startups doing similar to what we did. I mean, there's an infinite amount, and so we're just trying to stay relevant and keep our things fresh.
One thing we want to have good quality stuff, but we also want to keep our prices down. I mean, I try, or both of us, we try really hard when we're coming up with a new idea. If it's going to go above a certain cost, then we just aren't going to do it, because I guess I'm a frugal shopper. I like to have good sales when I'm shopping. So as a shopper, that's what I try to do for our fans, for our followers. When we first started, Jeff and I, we worked out. We wanted to be fit, but we were never into like bodybuilding. When he started Muscle Club, it's almost like the bodybuilders sucked us in, and so that's where we were pulled.
Yeah.
And that's who we were selling to, those hardcore people that live in the gym, bodybuilders. But I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, it kind of started to change where our following was a little different, to where we are with maybe like more like just the fit moms or fit dads, that are just working out to just have a healthier lifestyle. So it's kind of changed a little bit to where we don't have as hardcore the hardcore people.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, okay, so, for example, CrossFit's become huge, definitely within, I would say, probably the last 5 years, and it keeps growing, such a huge fan base, so we've definitely picked up a lot more of the CrossFit community.